Today I'm using combos to accelerate our deck to victory by either doing 20 damage or winning the game doing 0 damage. It really does depend on how the opponents want to play the game. Hey everyone, Hex here, and today I'm playing some Standard, looking to once again combo ourselves to victory. I'm going to be trying to cover all combos in Standard over the next few weeks, so if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below to not miss out, and you may get to see something you didn't know existed. I really appreciate your support for this channel. But onto this deck, and it all revolves around Render Inert. It's a 3-drop sorcery that says remove up to 5 counters from target permanent, draw a card. That's it. So using this card offensively, defensively, or as part of a combo, I've had a blast playing this today. You can remove counters from Phyrexians, Sagas, Planeswalkers, battles, creatures. The list is endless, but today I am concentrating on 2 of those in my deck. Firstly, creatures, or just creature in our deck, because we are only using one, and that's Archfiend of the Dross. I'm sure you all know how this works, but Archfiend of the Dross is a 6/6 flyer that enters with 4 oil counters. In your upkeep, remove a counter, and when it has 0, you lose the game. The card is so strong you can easily win without getting to 0 counters, but if the opponents have blockers or life gain, we are using Fateful Handoff to give the opponent the card so they lose the game. Giving the opponent the creature, then using Render Inert can help accelerate them losing the game, and it's so sweet to see it done. Letting your opponent steal your creature with something like Breach the Multiverse, then you playing Render Inert on it is even more sweeter. We're running 4 copies of Cruelty of Gix and Liliana's 2 because I'm keen to discard the Archfiends or have them in our graveyard by some means, because by turn 5 we can hopefully drop our Saga on chapter 1. Chapter 2 helps us look for any other combo piece we don't have, and chapter 3 allows us to resurrect the Archfiend, then use our 7 mana to give control of the creature to our opponent, then Render Inert it. That's the dream, and Render Inert can even help reset your Saga if you need to, and you have that in your hand. So the other cool use for Render Inerts in our deck are with battles. We're probably classified as a control combo deck, and all our battles help with this. Whether it's with discard, removal, or board wipes, Render Inert can help transform the battles to their other sides. Special note when transforming Invasion of Fiora to Marquesa Resolute Monarch, when it attacks you can remove all counters from target permanent, so it's essentially another pseudo Render Inert hidden in your deck. The rest of the deck is how we don't die and how we ensure the opponent doesn't counter things along the way, with lots of discard. We've got Duress and Extract the Truths, the latter being great against enchantments. We've got Cut Downs, Go for the Throats, Sheoldred Edicts, and Gix's commands to help with the meta. Any of these can also be found with our Cruelty, hence just the 1 copy of the command in the deck. And lastly, 3 copies of Phyrexian Arena. We've got to keep those cards flowing, and this one is great in our deck. Watch out for your life total, but don't worry too much, as we can always reanimate our opponent's Atraxa if we need to, because they seem to be everywhere today. I've got 25 lands, and that is the deck. So this deck is sweet. It has a plan and can pivot if needed with the creatures from the battles. We can deal with graveyards, reanimate anything, and then win on the spot. So there really is something for every eventuality in this deck. Let me know your favorite combos in Standard and give it a watch, because these games are pretty great today. All right, on the draw here, and yeah, we'll keep this hand. A little bit of removal, 2/3 of our combo, and Cruelty of Gix to help find the last combo piece, or find anything that can deal with whatever our opponent's throwing at us. In this case, a 3/1, but we can cut that down as we drew that in the nick of time. Another Cruelty of Gix is pretty nice. So opponent on Boros. And another Batter Fist, okay. So an equipment deck. We'll just Edict whilst we have the chance. Yeah. Don't really want to Edict this, but could have waited till next turn in case they want to spend some money equipping the creature. But in case we drew another removal spell, we can Edict there. Just draw a land there, which is kind of what we want anyway, so we'll take the turn off. Opponent with a ambitious farm hand. So I've played this deck that we're playing today in Orzhov, and it works pretty well using white mana to exile creatures and control the board like that. Played it with blue, more of a counter style tempo deck, but I do like this black discard version. It kind of does everything I want it to do, really, and I really do like Cruelty of Gix. As we've only got the 4 creatures in the deck. I do find that when you play them, they get removed straight away if opponents are holding removal. So the Cruelty of Gix is a good way of getting our creatures back, especially as we rely on them to win on the spot. So opponent is getting in there with their Rabbit Battery, and they did play another Batterfist. So looking for, okay, there's a Dross. So a land we would have played obviously the Cruelty of Gix and had a look in their hand. We could have also maybe looked for our commands to destroy the board. I don't really know what kind of removal the opponent can have, so I'm just going to block the 1/1. Okay, they Rebel Salvo, 5 damage. All right, okay. Maybe should have expected that, but it's not a card you see often. 5 damage to target creature or player. Okay, well, they only have the 1 red mana, so that's always good. But this is where Cruelty of Gix is great, as yeah, we can just go straight for the Dross. So we have our combo already in our hand. We're looking to just maybe beat down the opponent, but they've shown us they've got some removal, so it probably won't block this time. Ah, depopulate, okay. Board wipe, but that does clear the opponent's board down. So we're getting there. Painful Quandary. I did originally have that in the deck, but I ended up removing it because I felt that it was a bit excessive, unnecessary. Opponent with a Hexgold Halberd. Alright, so 2/2 first striker. I believe, yeah, they can equip here. They're holding open 1 white mana though. Okay, Cruelty of Gix is going to search for a swamp here because we now have the 7 mana needed. So next turn we get to bring back our Dross from the graveyard with Cruelty of Gix, and then we've got 7 mana here to Fateful Handoff and then Render Inert. So we should have the combo here unless the opponent can kill us. We'll just let this go to attacks first. I really am not sure what the opponent is playing, so I just want to make sure that... Okay, we'll just kill this now. We'll go down to 9. But yeah, unless they can exile or remove things at instant speed, we should be golden here. Cruelty of Gix can bring back Archfiend of the Dross. And yeah, we're just going to give this straight to our opponent. Draw some cards along the way. And remove up to 5 counters. So we'll remove 4 oil counters, and they should, unless they can remove it, yeah, die in their upkeep. Excellent. All right, on the draw. All right, hand is... It's okay. Extract the Truth is pretty nice at just getting into their hand, so... The Arena is also a really nice card to play on turn 3. Opponent with Ziatora's Proving Ground and Plains. So they could have anything in their deck. So let's have a look to see what we've got. Okay, it's a Breach the Multiverse ramp style deck. That is fine. At least we know what we're playing around. So opponent gets to play their Stomper here. Next turn, presumably play the Invasion, and if they've got a land, attack it down. So that's kind of the dream start for these domain decks. But we'll play our Arena here. And if they want to play the Invasion, that is fine by me. Our life total stays where it is. Our hand, not great. We've got combo pieces that don't really do anything without other things on the battlefield. Cruelty of Gix is nice though. So opponent didn't have a land drop there. The question is, do we play the other Arena? So they're pretty much incentivized to want to attack down the battle, I guess. They want to get to 7 mana. They could breach the multiverse here, but... Okay, they're discarding Herd Migration. So, really interesting, I think, what's going on here. Our deck consists of Liliana and the Archfiend of the Dross. We already have Render Inert in our hand. If they play Breach the Multiverse, the chances of them finding one of our Archfiends of the Drosses and playing that are pretty high. We can then just Render Inert on the opponent's turn. So they could almost do some of the work for us here. I think what we need to do is just make sure that they stick to 7 mana. So we'll kill the 4/4 Skyclave here. There's nothing in their graveyard. Yeah, and I think we're going to sort of beat them at their own game a little bit here. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to attempt to use the opponent's cards to win us the game. So they're going to cycle the Zeatura. We'll hold open, go for the throw. And we'll kill the 4/4 Vigilance. It's a tap land, okay. So they don't have like an instant speed. Well, they wouldn't be able to breach and then play a an instant speed enchantment, Leyline Binding. And yeah, I mean, if they want to breach here, they're going to make a mistake if they take our Archfiend here. So this is working out to plan. They do take the Archfiend. I could have played the Cruelty last turn to find a removal spell or some kind of board wipe. Invasion of Fiora would have cleared the board down, but yeah, this has really worked out well. And I highly doubt they're going to expect this. We find another Render Inert and another Render Inert. All right. Well, we'll remove all these oil counters, and yeah, opponent with a Talky on the battlefield. But unfortunately, not good enough in this instance. They might be able to remove it in the upkeep, which they don't. Excellent. All right, on the draw, well, we'll keep this hand as we have our Archfiend in it, plus some card draw in Arena. Opponent does mulligan though, so they play a Plains. We have our cut down available if we need to shoot down an early creature, like a Norn's Inquisitor. Just going to deal with that now. We could just wait for the 2/2 to be played, but if we draw a removal spell now, I'd feel bad for wasting our turn, which we didn't though. Opponent is going to transform their artifact, so that is going to come at us. So cool little thing with these artifacts are that our Render Inerts can actually kill them. We will use this chance to play the Arena though. Gix's command is cool. All right, so our hand's really nice. We just got to assess what the opponent's doing and then try and find a way to eke out a victory. Okay, they rumble for 3 damage, and it's a Phyrexian Sensor, little draft limited card there. Stops us from playing more than one Phyrexian per turn. Sorry, more than one non-Phyrexian per turn. But Archfiend actually is a Phyrexian. Not expecting this to survive, and it doesn't with Pylon. Nice little removal spell there to destroy our creature and surveil for 2. So taking a bit of a beating. We're down to 8. How can we do this? So with the Arena on the battlefield, we're going to be taking 1 a turn as well. We're down to 7, I guess. So we've got to win the game in the next 7 turns. Gix's command can obviously clear the board here, but it would be nice if we had a creature that we could give lifelink to. But we do need to just try and find a way, not of just surviving, but of actually winning this game. So cut down's pretty nice in our hand as it allows us to double spell at some point. I think I'm going to flash this out now. This will allow us to have a creature next turn if we absolutely need one. We'll get rid of the 3/3. We'll cut down the 2/2. So kind of helps. See if they want to overextend into our Gix's command. And it is a Flesh Gorger. Okay, so we can't target that. So I'm really glad we've still got this command in our hand. But we are down to 5. 6 life. We are going to, I guess, have to clear this board now because the Flesh Gorger is going to do way too much damage otherwise. So unfortunately, that is what we're going to be doing this turn. So this isn't looking too great. Okay, so we will command, we will destroy the opponent's board. And yeah, this Phyrexian Arena of ours is going to kill us at some point. We don't actually have much life gain in the deck. We rely on reanimating our opponent's stuff or our 1 copy of Gix's command. Invasion of Innistrad, -13/-13 to any creature. So I'm going to want to render in this turn our invasion here to get a couple of 2/2s. Haven't done the math, but we should be able to create a nice little board, and I guess we just have to cross our fingers that the opponent here doesn't have a way to interact with everything, but we'll have a look in their hand. It's Banalish Sleeper. It's just a creature. It is going to be a blocker though, and we need to find a way to get all of our damage through as much as possible. So I think we will Liliana here. We'll get them to discard that card. We have a land here to discard ourselves. And yeah, Render Inert on a battle. So it's slightly different to Render Inerting our Archfiend. We did draw another Liliana, but we made a couple of 2/2s. So this is the turn we just got to hope the opponent breaks, and they do. Okay. So we go down to 3. We draw a creature. So we can put them down to 15. We can make another creature with our enchantment here, and we have the Archfiend of the Dross. So, I mean, yeah, we're just going to make a 2/2. So we'll put the opponent down to 15. Next turn, what we can do, 12 damage. We should be good here. Opponent with a Phyrexian Censor. We go down to 2 life. Yeah, and we'll just get them to sacrifice it. That will actually trigger the Archfiend of the Dross. They lose 2 life. And we'll attack. And we do actually have Invasion of Innistrad in our hand as well. So if opponent really wants to play a creature, we can just kill it at instant speed. So we should have victory here. Unless they can find a way just to do 2 damage to us. And it's Phyrexian Awakening. And I don't know how we won that, but yeah, that was a tight one. Alright, on the draw again, okay. Hand is pretty medium here. I like Liliana, but it would be nice if we had an Archfiend of the Dross in our hand, especially as we have Cruelty of Gix on the battlefield. But we will Duress our opponent. White-green, nice to see something different today. We'll get rid of their little trick. We can kill creatures. And Gala Greeters for our opponent. Okay, well, we're going to have to take the turn off here, unfortunately. Tap land for our opponent. All right, so we... they only have the 1 creature, so this is a great time to play Liliana. We'll get them to sacrifice that. And if opponent wants to play their Monastery... Mentor, then that is fine by me as well, because we can find a way to deal with that with our flashy Invasion of Innistrad. They've already showed us they've got protection spells, so we'll just get rid of that now, and we'll discard, get rid of one of our sagas here. We don't actually need it. I think we're going to try and win this game in a more controlling way. Join the dance, a couple of 1/1s, okay. So, tokeny kind of deck. Okay, an ossification as well. Sure. Okay, well, there's our Archfiend. I mean, we have got rid of their main threats in the deck. So, I think what we'll do is we'll get rid of this dinosaur that they're holding on to. And then we'll just try and ensure that the opponent's hand is has as few cards as possible. And then we can try and go over the top with our Archfiend of the Dross. We draw Swamp. Guess we have a Render Inert in our hand. Archfiend of the Dross as well. So yeah, looking for the handoff there. So a land next turn and we can just win in the opponent's upkeep. It's Torrens, okay. And they're going for the battle. Well, we can block one of them. They'll lose 2 life. And yeah, best draw for us now is a land. That's what we're looking for. The Archfiend is such a good card, even if you're not trying to try and be clever with it. And another Archfiend. All right. So we almost had the combo here. We can, I guess, play Gala Greeters now, and then we can play the other Archfiend. That will make a treasure, so we can ensure that we win next turn now, or over the next couple of turns. And we'll go for the invasion here. Opponent scoops before we get a chance to combo. All right, on the draw again, it seems. And we have a really nice hand here, actually. Yeah, this one's pretty nice. So we'll see how we get on, especially as we've drawn our 3rd swamp. Okay, so if we can get this arena down and it sticks, and then start discarding cards from our opponent's hand, we might be able to outpace them, as it looks like they're on a Jeskai deck, maybe a control deck. Maybe these Archfiends or the Drosses are not going to necessarily survive. I think our nemesis in the deck is Exile. Removing our Archfiends, not so much of a problem, as we can just bring them back with Cruelty of Gix, but exiling them is a... gets rid of our win condition. We have to then try and find another way to win, maybe resurrecting our opponent's stuff. But we'll make them discard 2, and they are actually going to cycle their herd migration. I wonder if they're going to get rid of that swamp. No. So they look like they're on domain. They do discard a ossification there. Okay, we have a Duress. I mean, that's a neat little card to have at this particular moment in time. You've got to expect if we play an Archfiend off the Dross, it is just going to get countered or removed. So yeah, we'll drop Duress. We'll see what we're playing with. See what we're playing against. Okay. Binding, Mountain, Atraxa, Atali. Okay.
Well, we'll just get rid of this binding now, and then play our Archfiend of the Dross, and see how the opponent wants to deal with this.
And they drop their 6th mana. So I'm guessing they're just going to look to cast one of their big boys next turn, or we can certainly get rid of one of them. Okay, and there's Duress. Really interesting game here. We're going to attack our opponent, and it really just does depend on what they find. If they want to just cast Atraxa, we should be good. So if we play our Cruelty of Gix here, we could look for a Render Inert and then hopefully win the game in the next couple of turns. We don't actually have the mana necessarily to do this, so it may be a case of us wanting to hand off the creature now to ensure that we have the mana available later on in the game to Render Inert. Plus, they would have to try and find a way to deal with the Archfiend. But I think we'll just go for the Cruelty of Gix and discard one of these cards from their hand. Not so concerned with Atali. More concerned with Atraxa, who, incidentally, we can reanimate ourselves if we need to in a couple of turns. So if they've got a way of dealing with our Cruelty of Gix, I think they're pretty much incentivized to want to do that. Otherwise, we are nicking their card. Okay, and it is binding. Guessing on the Cruelty of Gix here. It's going to be a little bit annoying, but that is fine. So we find a land. So yeah, if we had found the Render Inert there, we would be looking good at our combo here. But I think we're just going to win like the old-fashioned way of popping our opponent down to 11. We'll dress them. We'll see what's going on in their hand. Not a lot. All right, well, we'll give them the creature. They're oopsing us because there's nothing in their hand. Well, oops. We'll give you Archfiend of the Dross. And you can attack us if you want for 10 and spend all your money, all your mana casting Atali. But fingers crossed, we are able to kill our opponent. If they can't deal with this Archfiend, they hit us down to 10, and they are going to die in their next upkeep, and they scoop it up.